Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Tank be chopping, and I'm back with another haircut tutorial. Alright guys, so what we're gonna be doing on this cut is we're gonna be doing some shear work on top, mid fade, and then we're adding some enhancements to the lineup. Let's get it. Yeah. Alright guys, so what we're going to be doing is I'm going to saturate the top of my client's hair. I'm going to start off with some shear work. I did get some good angles. Well, I got like 1 or 2 good angles, but I'm not going to speed up what I'm doing with my shear work like I normally do. I want to go over it, you know, a little more detailed so that way hopefully it can help somebody out. Alright, so we saturating the top like I said. Now we're going to start off on the top. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to comb his hair forward a little bit just because I don't want to have to over direct his hair too much. So I'm starting off in the middle, as y'all can see. And I'm pulling up some of his hair. I'm creating a section, and now I'm setting in my first guideline right here. So now every guideline that I bring up, or every section that I bring up, is going to have a little bit of the previous guideline, and I'm going to use that traveling forward. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to be coming the opposite way and using that guideline also. And I'll show y'all when I get to it. So I'm just following this, that initial cut all the way forward right here. Alright, and now coming the opposite way. As you can see, I'm setting in my sections, you know, the opposite way like I said. And I know you can't really see me cutting, but I'm setting in my sections coming the opposite way. And each section that I bring up, I'm still having a little bit of that guideline from the middle that I first set in. That way I know exactly how much to cut off. And then you're going to see it better on the opposite side, guys. I apologize for this angle. It looked like a good angle, but, you know, I didn't check the camera when I was actually, you know, cutting it. But y'all going to see what I'm talking about here in a minute. Alright, so as y'all can see here, anything that's longer than the initial guideline that I set in, I'm cutting down. Alright, so now on this side, y'all can see it a little better. So here is the front part that I'm doing. And as you can see, I'm using that middle guideline still, and anything that's longer than that middle guideline, I'm taking off. And as you can see, I am trying to make my sections nice and neat. I normally don't. I move a little quicker, you know what I'm saying? But I wanted to do it a little neater and nicer for y'all so y'all can actually see the process of doing it the proper way. Now, I'm not saying the way I do it is improper, but it's just I've gotten so accustomed to doing it and I know how to do it now, so I don't really have to be so slow when I do it, I guess you can say. You know, I know how to use my sections and use my guideline and get everything even on top. Alright, so now I'm moving slightly over a little more, and as you can see, he had some long hairs on this side right here, so I'm still bringing that hair up, and I'm following the shape of the head. So on this side of the head, on this side where it starts to round, I want to make sure that I'm coming out at an angle and not straight up. So now I'm just checking some of my work on the opposite side, and anything that's longer than those guidelines, guys, I'm making sure to cut off. So I hope that those little angles and cuts that I did, I hope that helps y'all a lot. Now we're gonna get into the actual fade work. So what I'm doing here is I'm starting off with my number 4 guard on my Stylecraft Mythics. And I'm coming to that parietal ridge area and I'm just floating that clipper up and away. That way I'm basically debulking the sides and I'm not leaving too harsh of a line. That way I don't gotta do too much work to get that line out. And I'm only going to do this on the right side and the back of his head. And the reason why I'm doing that is because on the left side, where we're going to put that hard part, he likes for that side to be a little shorter because he don't want to have to deal with combing it. So that's why I'm not going up to a 4. I'm actually going to be doing a 2 or a 2.5 on that side. But as you can see, I am using my comb to help feed that the hair into the clipper. And now I'm going in with my GTX Exos and I'm setting in my bald guideline. And as you can see, well, you ain't seen yet, but as you can see here, I did leave some of that hair in the C-cup area. And the reason for that is I want to leave that area a little darker. That way I can line it up and it looks nice and sharp. So it's basically called a ghost line. So, you know, it's supposed to be bald right there, but you leave a little bit of hair and then you fade it out. And it makes it, you know, it makes it a lot easier to line up and you can actually see that line a little better. But anyways, guys, going back into this bald guideline that I'm putting in, as you can see, I did drop it in the back slightly, and now I'm moving on to the opposite side, setting in my guideline, and I'm just gonna connect these two sides in the very back, still dropping it down in the back, and then after that, I'm gonna make sure it's all nice and even. I've been having people ask me, man, like what trimmers are the best right now, and honestly, my top 3 trimmers that I've been using like pretty consistently is the GTX Exos, the FX3s, and then the Gamma X Evos. Alright, so now I'm going in with that FX3 shaver, and I'm getting everything down on the sides, all the way down to skin, you know, as low as we can possibly get it. And this shaver works really good, man. Like, I really like this shaver. I wouldn't necessarily say it's a con, it's more of a preference thing for me, but I wish it had a little more weight to it. But other than that, man, I think this shaver works really good. And y'all know how I do it when I'm balding people out with the shaver, guys. You know, the closer I get to that bald guideline, or the closer I get to that guideline, I like to flick out and relieve some of that pressure. That way I don't make it too hard to get out that line when it comes to fading it out. Let me give a shout out to my boy Tito Beats. Appreciate you, man.
Damn it, Tito. Another one?
Alright, so now I'm going in with my Stylecraft Mythics. I got my number 2 guard on my clipper. My lever is all the way open, and I'm debulking this side of the hair. You know, remember I said, guys, he likes it short up to the part. He doesn't like to have to deal with combing it, so I'm going with the 2 with the lever open. So like I said, basically a 2.5, and anywhere between a 1.5 and a 3, I think is good when they don't want to comb it, you know what I'm saying? And really, to determine which one works better, you just have to figure out your client. Like, I know most of my clients do like a 2 or a 2.5, and that's just, you know, based on preference and what they want. Sometimes I've seen people do a 1.5 and it looks fine, and I've seen people do a 3. So I think you just gotta work with it. If you're not sure exactly what you should do, probably start off with a 3 first, and then work your way down, and then just see what the client's like. Alright, guys, so now I'm coming in with my Stylecraft Mythics. I got my lever all the way open. I'm setting in my next guideline. So I'm coming up about 1/2 inch or so. And then once this guideline is set in, I'm gonna start to fade it out. And y'all know how I do when I start to fade it out, guys. I have to close my lever halfway closed, and I'm gonna come halfway into this section. Then I'm gonna close my lever notch by notch, moving myself lower and lower each time. So by the time the lever is all the way closed, I should be attacking the bottom of that line. And if that's not, you know, short enough to take this line out, that's perfectly fine. I know that I can always come back with my trimmers if needed. And you might see me like adjusting my lever within this section, and the reason for that is, as you can see, he has some dark areas, and you know, I just want to be really consistent, and I'm doing just some small detail work in this section just to get it looking as good as I can get it right now. Now, mind you, I am going to come back later and do some detail work, but doing this within this section helps get it nice and clean. And remember, guys, you want to keep a brush or a comb in your hand. That way you can comb that hair down and brush that excess debris away. That way it doesn't mess with what you're doing, because if you don't comb it or brush it out, some of that hair might stick to the head, and then you might not see exactly what's going on. May think there's a line when there's not, may think that there's a dark area when there isn't. So that's why I keep a brush or a comb in my hand. Most of the time, if it's shorter hair, I use a brush, and if it's longer hair, I use a comb. Alright, but anyways, guys, I'm going in. This is my next step. I got my number 1 guard on my clipper. My lever is all the way open, and I'm coming up another section. And this time, I'm not going to fade this section out just yet. I'm just going to set in this section. And as you can see, I'm going over it a couple times. You know, I want to be really consistent with it. Want to make sure I get it all down to that length before I move on. So now that that section is put in, I'm moving on to my next step. This is my number 1.5 guard with my lever open. So basically, it's making it about a 2 guard. And what I'm doing here is I'm basically just cleaning up that top area, basically where I went in with my 2 guard. I'm coming right below that with the 1.5 open. And then as you just saw me do right there, I close my lever, and I'm still attacking that darkness that you see at the top of this blend. And then once I'm done with this spot, or with this section, I'm gonna try to get out that bottom line that you see right here. So this is my 0 guard or my 1/16 guard, my half guard, whatever you want to call it. I got my lever all the way open. So it basically equates to about a number 1. So I'm using this to come into that section, flicking at that line, and then I'm closing my lever, adjusting that lever as needed to get rid of this line. And as you can see, I'm not coming too high into that section. It may look like I am, but I'm really just using the corner of my blade, and I'm just barely attacking that line and closing my lever as needed to erase this line. And if this doesn't erase this line completely, it ain't a big thing, you know what I'm saying? I know I can come back in later and detail it with just my lever open, or maybe push a little harder on the skin, but it's not a big issue if this line doesn't come completely out just yet. And once again, guys, I am going over it a good amount of times. I want to be nice and consistent with it, and I want to get this as clean as I possibly can. Alright, so there's still some dark areas, there's still some discrepancies, so I decided to go back in with my clipper all the way open, and I'm attacking these dark areas, using some detailed techniques that I know, some corner blending, some more flicking, not pushing as hard on the client's head with the clipper, different things like that will help achieve a good look. So that's what I'm doing here, guys, just detailing it, corner blending, doing all that good stuff to get this fade to come together. Now, as you can see here, guys, that bottom line didn't come out completely, so I'm just going in with my with my X Evos. See, I'm getting all confused with all these letters, but I'm coming in with my X Evos, and I'm attacking that bottom line to help get that line all the way out. And as you can see, it is erasing that line. It is making this blend come together a little better. And now what I'm doing is I'm moving on to the lineup. Y'all know I like to start in the middle of my client's head, set in my guideline, and then move my way over. And we're just gonna move all the way over to that vertical bar, hit that vertical bar, and then put that C cup in. And remember, guys, we are gonna be doing the hard part also, so y'all will see me do that right here in a second.
Damn it, Tito. Another one?
Alright, so moving on to the hard part, guys. As you can see, I'm just going over that line that was already there, basically. And you don't want to make this line too thick. I know some people like their hard parts a little thick, but I like mine just slightly thicker than the line that the trimmer makes. You know what I'm saying? So I just go one time with the trimmer, facing the regular way, and then I went back with the clipper with the trimmer upside down to help clean up that line. And now I'm just going back into this blend and I'm detailing it. What I normally do when I detail my haircuts is I start off with the big guard. So for instance, I believe that was my number 2 guard or my 1.5, and I just went in with my lever open and closed, adjusted it as needed, and I'm just moving my way all the way back down my guard system until I get down to that 0 again. And most of the time, that's all I need to do to detail. And I know it may sound like repetitive and it may seem like I'm doing a lot of work that's unnecessary, but it works really good for me, and that's the reason why I do it. I just work my way back down my guard system, and for the most part, that's how I get my my fades to look nice and blended. And then remember, guys, when it comes to detailing, you can detail, as much as you need. I know a lot of people, they move through their haircuts, fairly quickly, and then they come back and they detail for almost the same amount of time that it took them to do their initial steps. And that's perfectly fine too, guys. You got to do whatever, whatever works for you and makes your haircuts look good. Alright, so now we start on the other side, guys. So we're going to be doing the same exact thing. The only difference is we're fading into a number 4 into the long hair instead of just fading into a number 2. So I started off with my clipper open, created my section, faded that section out by closing my lever notch by notch. And then as you can see, my lever is closed, attacking that bottom line. Now I'm taking my trimmers, hitting that bottom line, make sure it's nice and erased. This is my 1 guard lever open, setting in my next section. And now I'm moving on to my 1.5 guard lever open. And now I'm going to start with my 4 guard and I'm going to fade down. So I'm going to do a 4 lever open then close, then 3 open then closed, then 2 open then closed. And then that's basically my initial steps for this side of the fade. And anything else y'all see after that is just going to be some detail work. And so I still got people asking me, I did do a little video on my station the other day, about what I had on my station and whatnot, but I still had people asking me, what on my, what clipper is the best in my mind. And right now, guys, still I think the Stylecraft Mythics like they're it for me. These are still my favorite clippers. These are still my go-to clippers. I have been using my other clippers more often now. You know what I'm saying? Maybe like seeing everything that I had. You know, I was like, man, you know, I want to use my walls again. I want to use my JRLs. I want to use my Endless Masters. I want to use my Babyless. I have been using different clippers, and I have been recording different footage for y'all with different clippers. So I'm hoping that this really helps y'all, and it helps me, you know what I'm saying? Because I hope y'all like it and y'all start liking my videos more, sharing my videos some more, you know, getting more people turned on to your boy, you know what I'm saying? And that's the reason why I do it the way I do it. Like, I just don't want to take one clipper and just do a bunch of tutorials with that clipper. I want to take different haircuts, and even the same haircut but with a different clipper, and show y'all that you can still come out with a good product regardless of what clipper you use. And that's basically like the angle that I'm going with this channel, you know what I'm saying? I want to be known as that guy who can use any clipper and do a good haircut with any clipper. So that's the angle that I'm trying to attack this whole YouTube thing, this whole YouTube algorithm. That's what I'm doing to try to get my name out there. But anyways, guys, let's move back to this haircut. As you can see, I did my fade work, but then I had to use my blending shears to make this blend come together. So now that that is done, I'm lining him up again, the opposite side. I'm starting off in the middle, and as you can see, he has some light spots, but that's fine because we're gonna hit it with some enhancements anyways and fill that in. But for the most part, we're still trying to get it as crisp as we can possibly get it. If you're liking this video so far, please smash that like button, guys. If you have any comments or questions about anything that's going on, please make sure to get active in that comment section. Also, if you want to buy any of these tools, well, I don't got the links to some of them, but some of them are in my description on Amazon. And then anything you see from Stylecraft or Gamma, you can go to their website and use my code TANK10. If you're looking for some illusion capes, you can use my my discount code TANK15 at illusion.com. You know, save yourself some money. But yeah, guys, that's what we're doing on this cut. It's coming together. You know, I'm going back in detailing it, just trying to get them finishing touches on this cut. And so far, it's looking pretty blurry, man. Like, I think your boy put in some good work on this haircut. All right, so now I'm going in with my no drip and my Beam Team XL. You know, I'm setting in that, putting in them enhancements, you know, trying to take this haircut to the next level. You know how your boy does it, man. Let's go. And then after I do this, you know, the no drip, I am going to be going back in with some hair fibers. And I've been doing that here often. I think it makes the haircut and it makes the hairline look a little more natural. Because sometimes if they have thinning areas, it'll look like you just put a lot of paint on them. So if you put them hair fibers, it helps make that look better. And you'll see it right here. So I'm putting in some hairspray, and then I'm gonna go in with my hair fibers, and then I'm gonna put some more hairspray to lock in them hair fibers and then reline him up. And like I said, I think this helps give it more of a natural look. It doesn't look like it's painted on there, you know what I'm saying? So I put a little bit of hair fibers afterwards, and I just feel it gives it a better look. And that's just my personal opinion. And I did start doing this because I seen my boy S-Craft Blends doing it. Shout out to S-Craft Blends, man. He's a GOAT when it comes to this YouTube stuff, man. Well, not just YouTube, but haircuts in general. But, you know, I get some tips from him, you know what I'm saying? And I put it to use for my clients and my channel, and it works. And that's the good thing about YouTube, guys. Like, you can take a little bit from everybody and create your own style with that. So like I said, guys, I want to reline him up just to make sure it's nice and crisp. Now that that line is set in, I'm going over everything with that razor. Basically just getting this line as sharp as I can possibly get it. And man, I don't know, man. I think I did a good haircut. I think your boy was putting in work on this video. You know what I'm saying? It looks good. I know it's a little longer, you know what I'm saying? Y'all probably like, dude, like, why you just keep talking about your haircuts? But on the cool, man, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. It did take me a little more time to do it, but I wanted to keep it a little longer. That way y'all get more of a detailed description of what I do when it comes to doing scissors and my fade work and the enhancements. Alright, guys, so check it out. This is how my boy came into the shop looking. You know, it'd been about 2 or 3 weeks or so. He said, Tank, hook me up. I said, I got you, fam. This is how my boy left the shop. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this haircut in the comments, guys. If y'all like this video, please make sure to smash that like button. Also, if you're new to my channel, make sure to subscribe one time for your boy. Remember, guys, if you're in the Houston, Texas area, you can book an appointment with me. You can go to tankbechopping.com. You know, I have I have how to book on there, so you can book on my website. And yeah, guys, that's basically it, YouTube. I appreciate y'all for watching. Until next time, let's go.